In what ways does your media production develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media productions? We try to create as many realistic conventions as possible that were used by other film openings and bring their features into our own work. While Connor was absent, I created a prezi that researched different 80s films such as The Breakfast Club, The Goonies. This was basically just to get an idea of what types of film openings that there are and how their typical features are presented. Um, Basically, we did this just to try and create our own realistic conventions, just to copy their work, basically. Um, Also, we used a sped up shot of my character in the mirror, as this was like a commonly used feature in other film openings, and it also shows like the fast pace of the 80s. We also used just 80s music during our film opening, as we wanted to make it like as realistic as possible, and this was an obvious convention to follow. We used music such as Bad Reputation by Joan Jett and Call Me by Blondie. We also looked hard into mise en scène, as we didn't want any modern technology or anything in the way of the scene that didn't necessarily follow the 80s, because we wanted the setting to be as accurate as possible, like basically when we were. How does your media product represent particular social groups? The main social groups we focused on were like teenage girls, and we also showed the contrast between the girls, as my character was the rebellious one, who was based on typical 80s icons such as Madonna and Joan Jett, not only who inspired my attitude but also my characteristics and style. Whereas Nicole's character was more the quiet one. We found when researching, Connor and I both found that during the 80s Rat Pack era, era most films used opposites within their characters that showed multiple narratives. Therefore, we did copy this feature and use it in our own work. Obviously, you also see the teenage stereotypes, the antisocial one being Nicole's character and the misbehaving one being my character, and we see that both roles challenge and follow these stereotypes. We also see a small social group represented by the older male teacher, who's played by Joash. This is clearly a representation of teachers in the 80s. We tried to make his character more stern and strict to show just how badly behaved. Who might distribute your media product and why? I thought after some research the most appropriate would be Universal Studios. I chose this because they have made like many popular 80s films already, such as The Breakfast Club, along with other very successful films that are dated today. This basically suggests that our film would already have a particular target audience to head straight into when released, as Universal Studios already have a wide fan base from their earlier distributed films. Also, I thought, as it would be a high budgeted film, it'd be able to like create a better quality picture. So yeah. Who would be your audience for your media product? Basically, anyone who's experienced the 80s, and who's particularly interested in that period of time. Definitely young market based, I'd say around 15 to 30 years of age. I reckon it would be certificated at about 15 due to the use of alcohol and drugs. Also, I definitely think it would be a female attraction, as the main characters are both females and like easily. How did you attract your audience? Basically, we used a wide range of different features and effects to bring in our audience, but also I think that the narrative would have been like the main attraction, as it's quite interesting, and obviously you've got characters to relate to. I think females would be more attractive, mainly because the focus is on mine and Nicole's character, which are both females, and it also shows a sense of growing up and taking responsibilities, which is something everyone has to experience at some point. We also researched different types of font from the 80s, as we wanted to make it look more realistic. We found that the most ones that we used were bright, bold colours. That was the main focus in the 80s. Therefore, we chose to use that. The soundtrack was chosen by myself and Connor, which includes a range of popular 80s songs that would be familiar and would necessarily attract our audience. At the start of the film, it's almost like a journey for my character, which again attracts the audience as they want to follow her to see what's going to happen next. So basically, teenage characters would bring in a teenage audience. Um, what have you learned about technology for the construction from the construction process? I'm able to use Blogger much more sufficiently, as like before I was totally unfamiliar with, and like I actually irritated myself keep asking how to do this and how to do that, so I'm glad I'm able to use it as I please now. Also, we did a lot of our work, well, as a whole, on the IMAX using iMovie to edit our footage and create our openings all together. I did have some experience with this program as I took GCSE media course, but however, like, I was able to gather so much more knowledge on how to actually use the program and to actually edit my work. Looking back at your prelim task, what do you feel you've learned? I've definitely learned how much hard work and effort has to be put into your work, and the editing, everything like that, to make sure like it's exactly how you want it to be, because if something isn't how you feel perfect, then you're never going to be happy with it, so therefore you've got to go back and change it. Also, I've learned how films are marketed and distributed a lot more than like I know about. I'm also able to recognise genres and representations through cinematography in most film openings, and basically everything on the technological side has gone up basically, such as editing all together, cutting footage, adding footage, sound effects, adding the soundtrack, effects such as slow motion that we did use, transitions and loads of other things basically, and it's so much easier when you actually know what you're doing. Also, I realised how important the continuity of a film is. Therefore, me and Connor both made sure the editing and filming was to the best of our ability. That helped us to create our own sense of realism within our film opening.